Hello, I'll be using you because I'm discovering about a show called Happy Appy. Sometime during 1999, after Noggin was launched, Nickelodeon aired a new show on their program called Happy Appy. It sounds like some nursery rhyme that a babysitter would sing, but it wasn't. It was a short show, about 10 minutes, and was normally played in duets, making each episode 20 minutes, minus commercials. A month after it premiered, it was pulled off the air and was never aired again, even its nicer episodes. However, some parents did record the show, but they were VHS copies. But those VHS copies, only some VHS copies survived. However, what was really rare was an intact DVD copy of an episode. I was one of the lucky ones that had a DVD copy. Yesterday, when I did some spring cleaning recently, winter spring cleaning, but who cares? I found some old DVDs with Sharpie on them. They read HA 1 through 10. I did some research by using Google, and on Roblox, unfortunately, I found out that those were the initials for Happy Appy. In the replies, they said that there are no DVD copies around, which is false because I have some copies. So I decided to put them into the disk drive, praying for them to work. Well, they did, and they instantly cut to the intro. By the way, I haven't really described the show, haven't I? There's this giant clay apple with hands and feet being held up by a rusty bent stick. He helped children when they got hurt, but as the show progressed, it just got creepier. Like death stare and evil smile creepier. However, they did change the stick to a non-rusted but still bent stick. By the 8th episode, he wasn't even a clay model. He looked like he was a CG, but he wasn't. Probably a very good animation. To describe more about the colors of Happy Appy, his eyes were dark blue, his mouth was dark green, and he had a leaf on his head. His intro song had the same tune as Mary Had a Little Lamb. It went something like this. Happy Appy, Appy App, Happy App, Happy App, Happy Appy, Appy App, he helps kids all day. Repeated 3 times. Anyway, enough of that. Let's describe the actual show episodes. Episodes 1 and 2 were called Happy's Vacation and Hurt Happy, respectively. Happy's Vacation was exactly what you thought, Happy going on vacation and helping injured kids at the beach. Hurt Happy was Happy getting hurt and the kids helping him by giving him band-aids and fruit, which is weird because they give him an apple in one part. Nothing seemed out of place when I first saw it, but when I saw it a second time, it looked very odd. While Happy was driving his van in Happy's Vacation, some frames were skipped. I ignored it, saying that it could be a scratched DVD. When I checked it, it wasn't scratched. Also, I noticed some out-of-place objects in Hurt Appy. In Happy's van, there was what looked like the border of a Hope poster. Also, the radio plays a country music-esque version of Hot and Cold, which wasn't made in 2008, and very out of place for a kid's show. I thought those were just a coincidence. I was wrong. Episodes 3 and 4 were stranger. One moment that could send chills down anyone's spine was the boo-boo scene in episode 4. Happy aids a child that had a bruise on his knee. He looks at the camera, death stare on face, and says, "What does Nate need for this boo-boo?" For 30 seconds, he stared at the camera, motionless, his dark blue, soulless eyes locking on with anyone watching. Finally, he spoke. "That's right, a Band-Aid!" Why did he need that long to speak? I don't know. The intros were cut out, and the main episodes were missing a few scenes. On episode 3, 5 minutes 12 seconds in, when he does his first death stare / evil smile for 30 seconds, it was somewhat eerie. Also, the OOP objects were getting more noticeable. There was a news broadcast about a tsunami that recently struck Japan. Happy said, "Oh no, if you want to help the Japanese, call this number," and a 1-800 number was listed. February 24th, 2011. I watched episode 5. First off, it had Happy on his new stick. The episode was very violent. In the episode, Appy was doing his trademark death stare at the smile for half the show. Afterwards, he helped 2 children. The first one he took out of sight behind a bush. Blood is seen from the bush, and screams are heard. The other kid waits for Happy, and then he's seen emerging from the back of her, then it skips frames. The next I see is the blood trail leading to another bush. Appy doing that damn smile. Episode 6 showed Appy doing a death stare, but it was hardly viewable. Then it went static for the rest of the show. I couldn't believe it. I moved on to episodes 7 and 8. This time, the episodes were so violent, so badly made, that they couldn't have been aired on Nick. Episode 7 had Appy take a kid into his van. Flesh cutting could be heard, and so could blood spatters on the windows and screams, which turned into gurgles. Then he emerged, doing a death stare and smile, from 9 minutes and 21 seconds in to the end of the show, or 10 minutes. Like I said, 8 had him being a CG-ish monster. But this episode was so coincidental, I couldn't believe Nick would even allow it. It starts out with Appy going around the playground, telling kids about the cycle of life. By the cycle of life, I mean frogs and plants. The kid said, "Thanks, Appy." But then smoke creeped behind Happy, so Happy and the kids turned around. 2 towers, 9/11, mentioned in 1999, were burning up, with people falling off. There was a lot of screaming, fire, and a crashed airplane. The tail could be seen sticking out of one of the towers. I could hear a faint whining noise, and I think that was the plane. Then a piece broke off, hitting and possibly killing someone. When the kid asked, "Appy, what are the towers doing?" It cut to a kid that was stuck under a huge metal piece, crying for help. Some other kids tried to help him. He was screaming so loud, it was almost heartbreaking. There was blood everywhere, and the fear on his face was so realistic, I cringed. Appy turned to the camera, and just like the photo, said these 3 words: "That's natural, children." Then he dragged them away, leaving the trapped kids screaming. I jumped out of my seat. Was Happy a death bringer of some sort? Or was he a master predictor? I had to continue. Episodes 9 and 10 were up. Oh, and want to know what happened when I called the phone number? Tomorrow, I decided that I would call it. February 25th, 2011. Just a quick thing. I called the phone number mentioned on episode 3. It was a recording, which I'll translate for you. "Hello, I'm Happy Appy, every kid's most helpful apple. If you want to make a donation, press 1. If you want to know about the earthquake, press 2. Pressing 2 gave me this. An earthquake and tsunami hit Japan, and we need your help. If you can make a donation of 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, or $100, you'll be a big help. Anyone who donates gets a Happy Appy badge." So I decided to press 1 and donate $1 to the donation. It then said this: "Thanks for helping with the aid for the tsunami. Now in the mail, you'll be getting your Happy Appy badge in a week." February 27th, 2011. Episode 9 was corrupted. It started up, but the whole thing had no audio. And the first part was so messed up that it was hardly viewable. The next part was just plain static for the rest of the video. Great. 2 missing episodes. I thought. 10 wasn't. It started with some weird offbeat carnival music. It started with Happy still looking like what he did in episode 8. But this time, as the episode went on, his CG-ish model looked worse and worse, like injury-wise worse. He was in his van, driving against a road that looped on and on. Eventually, he reached a playground. Many children were at play. Happy looked like he was ready to kill all of them. Then he said, "Hey kids, who wants to see Happy do a magic trick?" The kids cheered and ran into his van. Then he closed the door and drove off. After that, he came back, smiling like he just killed them all. I couldn't take it anymore. For some reason, Happy was making me feel nauseous, but I still continued. The remainder of the show, before the credits, was him reading the news, with future events that didn't happen for a long time. Examples were the Libyan riots, Chris Benoit's murders and suicide, and the SS Columbia disaster. Meanwhile, there were random breaks which showed a behind-the-scenes look at him realistically murdering a child. At the credits, Happy was holding a knife, covered in blood. The camera shot down where there was a table. A hand with cut marks was visible. Then it cut to a blank screen with white text. DVDs. I copied Happy over them. I wanted to preserve this so that they weren't lost forever. Now you might wonder, how did Nick allow all 10 episodes? Or 7? I don't know. They just did, that's what. If you want to know more, see me. KC. KC? Was that my friend Kevin Costo? Well, he did say he worked for Nick until the end of the millennium, so he probably helped with Happy Appy. I decided to visit his house. When I entered, Kevin wasn't home. His wife was sitting, crying. I asked her what happened to Kevin. She replied with something that shocked me. I don't know what happened, but something or someone kidnapped him last night. I don't know where, but he or she left this. Take it. I then got a folded up piece of paper. I unfolded it, and it was a picture of Happy Appy during the 9/11 scene, with the exception that he looked badly scarred. Before I left, I asked her how those horrifying episodes got on Nick. She replied with, he drugged the producers. He was going to... That was enough. I couldn't bear to take it anymore, so I left the house. And drove off. When I got out, I decided to walk towards my house. Then I heard a gunshot and screams from a woman, probably Kevin's wife. Then I glimpsed the picture again. This time, Appy wasn't in the photo. I instantly ran to my house because I know whoever killed Kevin was trying to kill me. Before I opened the door, I saw one glass glimpse behind me. It was Kevin's mutilated arm in a bush and an unknown figure standing behind it.